Hi there, it's Tim at Barefoot. Don't know why I'd be confused about that. And it's a lovely day in Guernsey, I have to say. Been a busy couple of weeks, and I'll get onto more of that in some later posts. But wanted to talk about leadership today. This is very much on the back of the Innovators Breakfast that INSO did last Wednesday. Really eclectic bunch, very interesting. And Dan and Alex threw a question out there about, what leadership means to us. And there are many differing sort of ideas and viewpoints on that. But it kind of got me thinking about it a little bit more. So I've been 8 years as a consultant, which puts me outside the hierarchy within any business, which is lovely, to be perfectly honest. And it gives you a subjective view of leadership when you're not beholden to performance reviews or promotions, that kind of stuff which is required within an organisation to make your way through. But this kind of employment as a consultant is very much the ultimate in meritocracy. If we don't perform, then you're out, which is great, You're only as good as your last contract, so you better be good. It does mean you have to become a bit of a shapeshifter. I'm a technical grunt. I go in and I work out what the problems are and I fix them where I can. I have to adapt pretty quickly most of the time, and sort of apply all my experience to the situation that I'm in. And that's a fair amount of time, and that includes sort of applying soft leadership, and that's measured advice, that competence that you project, and also that nurturing trust and respect. That's leadership as well. Personally, I've also thought as my role as leader beyond this strategic was to smooth the path for those who I was accountable to. And that's not upwards, but the team I was part of, to quieten the noise from above and provide the right conditions for any team to do their very best work in line with a larger strategy. And that's kind of in my profile: builder of teams and servant to many. That's how I see it. You build a team, you make sure that that team has the right conditions to do what they need to do. Over the last few years, and you see it lots of places, so this isn't anything groundbreaking, is this tendency for people to manage up, which is pretty destructive, I believe. Reporting that everything's okay and progressing as planned, everything's green, which is lovely, and that can most of the time is what is furthest from the truth. All this kind of does is promote a confirmation bias within the organisation, and that is a disservice to those whose experience and hard work is being dismissed and disregarded, and that kind of breeds a toxic cover your arse London rules for our slow horses fans culture. And this does a disservice to the company. If no one's reporting that something is broken, how do they know it's broken? You can't cause change, right? So, being honest is part of leadership. Having the courage of your convictions, telling people the bad news is part of that role. And there's a large number of these kind of living examples, sort of locally, globally, and lessons really do need to be learned. So a couple of days on from the INSO Innovators Breakfast, and with little time to think, that's kind of my take. And this is a time where we really do need good leadership, difficult times, where social and technological uncertainty is genuinely scary. Let me know your thoughts on this. I would love to know. I've got a few upcoming topics. I'm going to run them through just because I thought, they'd be quite funny. Right, so comedy risk aversion, based on an experience I had with, and I don't condone betting in any way, but I did place a bet on the PGA and I completely bottled it on a cash out. But it made me think about my appetite for risk. Why LinkedIn? Yeah, I mean, none of my Permi mates spend their time on LinkedIn as much as probably I do, and there's a very good reason for that. So I wanted to sort of, explore that a little bit more. Garbage in, risk out. Yeah, it's the same, garbage in, garbage out, but it's actually what level of risk we inject into an organisation by not getting things right in the first place. So I'm going to be doing a piece on that. And my crazy ideas generator, which actually has turned out into a fully blown software delivery pipeline, which I'm pretty proud of. It's going really well. It's got some really great stuff. But that's more a technical one, and I'll do that later. So that's kind of me. That's my update for the week. And I'm sure I'll be posting in a week or so's time.